Hi, I'm Larry Richmond with Indie Film Spotlight and ProNetworks.org, and we're here at the 2013 South by Southwest Film Festival for the world premiere of Coldwater. I'm sitting with writer, director, producer Vincent Grashaw. Welcome. Congratulations on the film.
Thanks.
And at the risk of my talking for an hour, why don't you tell us how you got involved in this project?
Okay. I got involved. I came up with the idea to write this script a long time ago. In 1999, I just graduated high school, knew I wanted to make movies, and I kind of tend to gravitate towards the darker stuff, personally. It doesn't resonate from a familiar place for me or anything, though. It's just something I was always into. So yeah, I had a friend who I had experienced. He was abducted in the middle of the night a few years before that. At the time, I was on a hockey team, a traveling hockey team. All these guys were kind of rowdy rebels. Yeah, he disappeared, and I didn't see him for a few years. Came back, just not the same guy. He lost this funny, goofy side to him that I always liked. It was just sad to me. So I started writing it, and over the course of 3-4 years, I had read a lot about these places, and I took a lot of just the reality behind it, put it into this fictional story, and 13 years later, now we're at this festival with the finished product.
Give us the basic synopsis.
It's about a teenager who's abducted in the middle of the night, sent to one of these wilderness camps, juvenile modification centers, private camp, and you go through the first couple months of his experience there while seeing like flashbacks of what the event had led him. And then it's his whole experience and the relationships he has with the inmates. The guy in charge, who's this retired war colonel, with his very passionate. He really believes in his
James Burns.
James C. Burns. That's pretty much the gist of it until the inevitable collapse of the place for all different reasons.
Now, had you seen a lot of films in this genre, juvie films, that kind of thing?
No, I mean, the one that comes to mind that I definitely remember is Sleepers. I haven't seen a lot that touch on the wilderness ones and the privatized camps. Parents pay a lot of money, and I haven't seen many on that.
For me, and I'll just a little bit of my thoughts here come into play, as this festival was the very first one I ever covered, and I flew out here to cover a film about a kid who is on his way to juvie, and he in order to avoid it, he acts crazy because he finds out that if you go to the mental ward, it's a better place to be. And that I fell in love with that film, and since then I've seen a lot of films.
What was that called?
The Bondage. It never came out.
Oh, really?
Michael Angarano. But I've seen a lot of films like this. Just at the Toronto Film Festival last year, I saw a film called Blackbird, a Canadian film, which was the same kind of thing. And so there's sort of a benchmark for me. So I come into this, and initially my thoughts are, okay, I've seen this before. Just the way it started, and and I'm thinking about, if I'm going to write about the film, I'm thinking about the lighting and the sound and the camera. At some point, I started to forget about what am I going to say about this film, and I started to get caught up in the story, and these layers start to peel away, and I don't know if it was about third or halfway through the film, I completely got lost in the story. I forgot where I was, I forgot what I was doing, and I was just there.
That's awesome,
You pulled that off amazingly, and so I would want people to know, stay with this film. Don't write it off in the first 5 or 10 minutes as the same old thing.
I mean, it's a bit of a slow burn.
It is.
People tell you make something in the first 10 minutes that sucks you all in, and I think this was just, I didn't want to rely on a device to keep me in, opposed to just like you said, kind of letting you in and experiencing it.
What was the environment like on set?
Totally opposite of the movie. I mean, it was fun because we all lived together. We stayed in this camp at the camp itself for just 3 weeks, and we had another couple weeks of all the other locations. But it was just a blast. I mean, when you had all the, I mean, for a filmmaker, it's a luxury. You have all the actors at your disposal to talk during the night, anytime. Like, I mean, you don't have that ever. We had an editor on set, editing rough cut of everything we were shooting. I could go to them. I can go to our composers who were part of the process, and I can, we can start literally throwing in temp score while on set in the woods. It was insane. And then, every actor in this movie it was funny, they all had different quirks about him. Like, so you look at it, I'm like, okay, I know I have to do these things with this guy. With PJ, I knew his things that I need to get what I want.
Yeah.
The only one that I was like, James, you do what you do.
The Colonel.
Like, James,
he told me the guys called him the Colonel.
I'm like, oh, can you say this line? And he's like, I'm not gonna fucking say that. I'm not fucking saying that. I'm like, all right, don't say that line. And to be honest, I fought for a few things that he was against, and thank God he fought for that, because it just butcher.
Hey man, Call of Duty.
Yeah, no, he came in with the humanity of that character, because in the script, it was a little more toxic right off the bat, and I felt like if it stayed that way, even more to your point, you would go, oh, I know this place, I know exactly where this is going, and so he brought that kind of humanity behind him.
Yeah, James, I told him he pulls it just this side of stereotype. He brings humanity to it, a little bit of vulnerability, and you can almost see it almost in his mind, like, well, I was one of the kids once too, and I know what they're going through. Was it written that way, or did he really bring that to
I mean, obviously, there's layers to the character, but it's black and white on the page. I mean, he brought so much to that character that it wasn't, to be honest. I mean, he really brought it to life in a way where, that character's dealing with his own things, his own son's suicide, and I think the connection with Brad and him, there's parallels between saying, like, they're almost very similar type of people, but I think, there's a very skewed father-son relationship going on.
Now, PJ's character is the focus of the film, obviously, and from my point of view, his performance is what makes or breaks it, and it makes it. Talk about PJ, working with him. Was it easy? Did you have to coax a lot out of him to get him to work?
Yeah, I mean, I started off with this guy, like, I cast him off of literally 2 scenes. I have those scenes on video still, and I've looked at him again. I'm like, I cast this guy, this role, everything it had demanded off of those 2. And so I was really scared at first, like when we initially did it, because we did rehearsing. It was his first thing, so he had a lot of the same questions that any first timer would. And so I didn't know at first. I was like, that emotional shit, like the crying and stuff. I'm like, is he gonna be able to get there? Like, I didn't know. And so he didn't want to do it, obviously, in rehearsal and blow it. Like, he didn't want to. Obviously, you want to get that on camera, so he didn't want to go there yet. And so I didn't know if that was an excuse. Like, once we got on set, he was like, I can't do it. I was fucked, But he, he's the thread of that movie, right? Like, he doesn't, all these other characters kind of have these colorful guys come in and have these moments, like monologues or great scenes, and that could be scene stealers, but he's just the threat. He's there. A lot is in his face. As far as his process, this guy, he's been doing it for years. My biggest complaint, or it wasn't even my complaint, it was the DP's complaint, was his marks. Because that's the first technical side that you have to learn and be good at and kind of get used to. Because acting has nothing to do with that. You just have to kind of be like, all right, I know my marks are here. I know the light is hitting here. And so our DP, he was rough on that. PJ had to take a little time to get used to that. But when he did, it's just part of the process. That's minor.
For me, one of the aspects of the film that made it emotional for me was how you did the flashbacks. And I know it was originally linear, at least to the guys, it was a linear narrative. And when I'm watching a film, I'm thinking, wow, why did he do that there? If he hadn't done that, if he hadn't put that flashback there and that there, I know that's you and that's the editor. But how much time did it take for you? Did you go through a lot of different iterations of it?
No, once we came up with the idea of taking that and breaking those into sequences. There was a few places we tried it and saw if it worked and it didn't. And so now where it all stands, it was just like, yeah, that we knew it instantly right when you put it there. I mean, and now it really comes off. You know,
you create these reveals. Just like that. I mean, it barrels that last act.
No, it's a heavy, suspenseful last act of the movie. I mean, there's, you know, the movie as far as Pooch's character, I think at the end of it, the major things, choices and consequences. That for me, that's what the cross kind of signified was. I'm not religious, spiritual, so I don't. But I felt the cross was a good device to show like going into all these integral characters and ending up back in his possession after committing this horrible crime, regardless of who deserved what and what happened. And looking at that and being totally aware of the decisions he made and having to look at that, you know, looking at okay, you know what I mean?
I was so impressed. Everything from, and we, you know, the lighting and the score and the camera work and the acting, your script, and the way it all came together was just beautiful.
I mean, it could be done with everything because the script to me is just it's a blueprint. It's never permanent. That's not the end all be all. And a lot came out like we had our composers who are amazing. Mark and Chris. There's our company, our investor. He has this whole studio down in Orange County. And so imagine having an editor on set, all that luxury, and then go into the studio, and then having my composers in the next room while we're editing, and just having them shoot us. It's a perfect story.
All right, Vincent Grashaw, Coldwater,
Thanks, Larry.
Oxford soon at a theater near you.